I know that was one of my Halloween openings, but I need as much mileage and content as possible before October's over. So this is my custom Pitt action figure, and he's kind of like a monster, so I'm going to throw him in that category. Actually, that's a great way to start this video. His backstory is that he's actually not a monster, he's an alien, or an extraterrestrial. So he's an alien basically, but he's mixed with Homo sapien DNA also, so he's a hybrid between both of them. Now before I go over the actual figure, let me just show you. This is my actual issue of Pitt #1 by Image Comics. These were the days where there was no social media, so you didn't know what was coming out. So you would go to the comic book store, and I saw this. And something about it, I think it just reminded me kind of Predator, like the skin color and the hair maybe, but it just looked awesome. And this issue, the first one, has some great illustrations that I actually use as references. And I have Pitt issue #2, where it's another great cover, and you can see him way better now. Instead of the first issue, it was kind of like you didn't know exactly what he looked like. Now you know what he looks like. This is my original Wizard edition from 1992. And my favorite part of these Wizard magazines were the custom action figure section. So those early custom action figure articles were, early kid bashing and stuff. And I always did that as a kid. I have a lot of custom vehicles and figures on my channel. So it was about time I made one of these. Now I just happen to have duplicates of... This is the Hulk from the Hasbro toy line that's supposed to fit in the G.I. Joe scale universe, the 3 3/4 inch. And now for the scale, let me try a stick bot. That's what it looks like. This is young Boba Fett from the Clone Wars Hasbro toy line. This is the original Star Wars Kenner line, Darth Vader. This is a custom one too. I made this cape from plastic, flexible plastic, and the head is actually from like a mid-90s, early 90s Cobra Commander that I painted, because this toy, when I found it, didn't have a head. But that's the scale. And now for the figure. Let me start out with the basic paint color. I mixed a combination of paints to get a nice tan color. Then for his pants, instead of purple, I painted them blue. And then I went over the entire body with black and wiped it off. This is all acrylic paint, so the recesses would stay, stained, so give it more depth. The head, I didn't do much, except I painted over the hairline to give him the top. And here, it is just a twine that I kind of like raked it out to give it more volume. Then for the edge, I just used masking tape, drilled a little bit in the back of his head, and glued it in there. His face, I just went over again and highlighted the teeth with white. The eyes, I darkened first, and then used a, I think I got one here, the shish kebab skewer, and just dotted the eyes with red. It's a good tip. If you want to get real small detail, just use a bamboo shish kebab skewer. Now for his vest, I had some extra black vinyl that I was repairing my motorcycle seat, and I made it fit on him as good as I could. I used a couple staples to tailor it, and the inside of the vinyl was like a felt type of material, so I painted it red, and I went over it with just a little pen to give it like a flannel or plaid texture. For the chains here, this is just like a Michael's art supply store. They have a section with just jewelry, you know, basic jewelry like necklaces and stuff, and this is the closest one that looked like little chains. It looks like the little chain links, just like Spawn and all of that. So I got that, cut it up for a wrist, around his chest, around his waist, and his ankles. He's still very articulate. His waist, shoulders, elbows, wrists, neck, knees, and like his ankles. So, I mean, it looks pretty legit. It looks like Pitt. And if I had this when I was a kid, I would have destroyed this thing. He would have creamed Cobra, G.I. Joe, everybody can get his hands on. Even the Empire from the Kenner line. Now, the only things I wish I would have done when I did this, and I did this a long time ago, maybe easily over 10 years ago, I would have, the nails, I did paint them a gray color, but I would have elongated them a little bit with maybe just like really thin cardboard or something to give them the claw look. And the chain, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's very chrome, which looks cool. Maybe I did that for a reason, to give it some contrast, but I wish I would have weathered it a little bit more, maybe darkened it or rusted it. But that pretty much wraps it up for my Image comic book Pitt action figure. Hope you liked it, and if you have any custom action figures, I'd like to see them too. So, that's it, and have a good night.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.